Hey YouTube, Jack here. So in today's video I'll be talking about Magnus affection. I'll first go through how and what is the best way to increase your Magnus affection. I will then go into the more specifics of how the affection works for those who are interested. And then closer to the end I'll be sharing a couple other information that could also be helpful as well. So for all the people that just want to know the best and fastest way to raise your Magnus affection, this is to brush, pet, and feed them their favorite food every day. And that's it. And just do that every day until you get 5 hearts. So now we're going to get into the specifics of how the affection works. And to do this, I'm going to start off by catching myself a prunie. To get into the specifics, you should know that prunies like fish and aquacrops. They love sun kelps and dislike anything else. So we're going to start off at our farm with the prunie that we just caught. So you can see that he's full with 1 heart. So with all the tests, I'm not going to do anything on the day I catch the prunie, and I'm going to make the following day, day 1. So with the first test, we will be just feeding the prunie food it likes. And in this case I'll be feeding it aquacrops. So as you can see, the prunie is no longer full and has lost 1 bar after taming it on day 1. And let's see how long it takes to get to 5 hearts. Keep in mind that your Magnus affection doesn't increase until the day after you pet, feed or brush them. So on day 6, after feeding the prunie 5 days of things it likes, it has increased 1 heart to 2 hearts. So on day 14, after 13 days of feeding the prunie things it likes, it is now on 3 hearts. The prunie increased to 4 hearts after feeding it for 25 days. So after 50 days, the prunie finally reaches 5 hearts. So to summarize, when feeding food that Magnus likes, it takes 5 days to reach 2 hearts. To go from 2 hearts to 3 hearts, it takes another 8 days, for a total of 13 days. And from 3 hearts to 4 hearts, it takes another 12 days, for a total of 25 days. And from 4 hearts to 5 hearts, it takes another 25 days, feeding the prunie every day for a total of 50 days to get from 1 heart to 5 hearts. So for the second test, we are going to do the same thing as last time, but we are going to feed the prunie's favorite food, which is the sun kelp. And we will see how long it takes to get to 5 hearts. So after 3 days, we can see that the prunie has increased from 1 heart to 2 hearts. After 7 days of feeding the prunie its favorite food, it is now 3 hearts. The prunie got 4 hearts on day 14. On day 26, the prunie reached 5 hearts after feeding it 25 days of its favorite food. So to summarize, when feeding Magnus their favorite food, it takes 3 days to change from 1 heart to 2 hearts. And from 2 to 3 hearts, it takes another 4 days of a total of 7 days. From 3 to 4 hearts, it takes another 6 days for a total of 13 days. And 4 to 5 hearts, another 12 days for a total of 25 days. So as we found out, feeding the Magnus their favorite food is a lot faster than feeding food they just like. 2 times faster in fact. With this knowledge, to make my experiments go a lot faster, I decided to feed the Magnus their favorite food, and also brush them to see what happens. So the results, it only took 2 days to brush and feed their favorite food to get to 2 hearts, and another 3 days, or a total of 5 days to get to 3 hearts, and from 3 to 4 hearts another 5 days for a total of 10 days, and from 4 to 5 hearts another 10 days for a total of 20 days. After this, I wanted to test what petting does compared to brushing. So instead of feeding the Magnus their favorite food and brushing them, I fed their favorite food and petted them. The results were largely the same, except it took 1 less day to get from 4 hearts to 5 hearts, and I'll discuss some possible reasons for this later on. The next test was to see how long it took to get to 5 hearts by feeding the Magnus their favorite food, brushing them, and petting them, doing all 3 every day. The results were, it took 2 days to get to 2 hearts, from 2 to 3 hearts another 2 days for a total of 4 days, 3 to 4 hearts for another 4 days for a total of 8 days, and 4 to 5 hearts another 8 days for a total of 16 days of petting, brushing, and feeding their favorite food. I then tested out what would happen if I fed my pruny food it did not like, and to my surprise, it did not appear to reduce my Magnus affection, but it did not also increase it either. However, Magnus affection can decrease if you don't feed him for long enough. As you can see, my pruny has 5 hearts, but is now down to 1 bar on the hunger bar. And if we go to bed without feeding it while it's on the last hunger bar, we can see that the pruny reduced from 5 hearts into 4 hearts. But this can take a couple days to happen, so don't be too worried if you forget to feed your Magnus for a day or 2. So now, I'm going to try and feed, brush and pet my Magnus 10 times in 1 day and see if the affection increases. So if I did this normally, I would have gained at least 1 heart. But as you can see, the Magnus affection did not increase at all. So there is no point in trying to increase your Magnus affection by petting, feeding and brushing them several times in 1 day. To conclude, you can see that petting, brushing and feeding Magnus their favorite food every day is the fastest and most effective way of raising their affection. In the tests, the tasks were done every single day, so times may vary if you do not do these every day or do a different combination of tasks. I'm not sure if these are exact numbers every time, or if the developers have a different way to calculate how long before hearts increase, as I did have a variation of plus or minus 1 day, as you could see with the petting versus brushing, which was all the same until the last heart. Maybe the petting is a little bit more effective, however, it could have been due to human errors, which I will explain now. As you will see, my Magnus is on bar 2 of its hunger bar, and what I'm going to do is feed it its aqua crop and then go into the building. So from that, we should think that the next day our Magnus should be fully full. But if we check the stats, you can see the bar actually decreased. So what happens here? Let's look at it again and see what happens. I fed the Magnus again and gone to bed, and let's have a look the following day. And still, it is hungry. Why is this? If you paid enough attention, you might have noticed, unlike this time, the last 2 times I did not let the hearts above the pruny's head animate for long enough. So this time you can see that the pruny is in fact full. So I wondered what would happen if I pet, fed and brushed my Magnus very fast as I usually do, and sometimes it seems like it cancels out the previous hearts. but it did not seem to have much of an impact. So my final tip to get the fastest results is to make sure you give enough time for the heart animation before transitioning to a different area. Don't forget to like and comment if you enjoyed the video or benefited from it, and make sure to subscribe for more videos like this. Till next time, see ya.